What up, guys? We're in Billings now. We're headed over to Metro Park and to set up the booth and get the event all going. And we will be meeting up with Yellowstone Buds. And yeah, that's gonna be the highlights today so far. But you never know. It's always changes. Always people to see.
The booth set up. I think we met up with David at his dispensary, his Yellowstone Buds dispensary in Billings.
Here in Billings at this location for about 3 years. Come on in, guys.
I know David's originally from Oregon, so this is kind of like a new beginning for him as well in a new state. Taking his prior experience and using that to get established in a whole new market is cool to see. Clearly, he pulled himself up by the bootstraps and kind of grew the business in that way, and it's great to see him have success out there, but also like he put a lot of hard work in to get to that point. So
I would say the number one selling product I would say right now for me is going to be, do we have the Uzos? Yeah. So my favorite thing right now is the Uzo.
He's not just like a rich investor that's just telling people what to do and, totally disconnected from it. Yeah. He's actually very hands-on and knows all the things that are going on in the business. Like he does his own short path runs. I think in general, when you have a business owner that's actively involved in the day-to-day happenings in the business, they're going to get a lot of the kinks ironed out and all the different issues like fixed quicker.
I think it was a 10, right?
Oh, was it 10? Yeah.
Yeah, the mantle was pretty big. I think
Yeah.
remember walking into that, right?
Yeah, so I had it set up with dual heads, and it would take 20 hours for a 3 or 4 liter run. And not to mention we didn't have HVAC control in that room yet, so you're making distillate's a hot process, so no AC, 20 hours, just mind-numbing how long it would take.
So what about now?
The Mako, I come back into my lab every 2 weeks, and my guy that's there making crude oil will have crude decarbed. And everybody's kind of looking at me with a raised eyebrow because I come back every 2 weeks. I put the machine together within an hour, and I'm usually running distillate the following hour, and I'm done within 3-4 hours.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, being done in a half day, able to return to Billings has improved my quality of life. Yeah, yeah,
And then what about the Titan? As far as versus your Dragon?
Oh man, I mean,
it's kind of obvious, but
right? Yeah, if safety, is obviously number one concern, but beyond the obvious safety functions that thing can provide you, there's just like the plug and play versatility of having a manifold that's so straightforward. Knowing that you can switch the way it runs and where you're going to move your gas and or material. So I feel like, just as me handing the torch to somebody that I had to train, it made the training process easy. It made the worker's experience better, because if the worker is struggling, then you're gonna have a higher turnover rate between your extractors, right? So they're gonna be frustrated, they're gonna be feeling endangered, they're gonna this or that. And so as much as you can streamline it, and that's what it felt like. It felt like if I'm being honest, it felt like it streamlined it.
now the challenge is how does he get to a point where he can scale the business? he brought this up a lot about like needing someone that could, help him a little bit more on the high level, because he's kind of like the lieutenant and also the person making all the decisions and planning. So I think he's got a lot on his plate, and his business growth is going to be based on how much he's also going to be able to kind of find the right people to lead these areas. It'll be nice to see how the market evolves. People are put in more, desperate situations to unload product because of the next harvest coming on. So yeah, it's like a hyper competitive market, but clearly there's enough demand to keep them all afloat. Margins are still great, and because they're vertically integrated, they're keeping all that money in-house. So I don't think they face the same pressure as like SoCal dispensaries or manufacturers or growers, where like people are lowballing the producers, but then like still capturing the same margin on the retail end. Like if you look at California's market, the brokers and distributors have like destroyed the margins, right? While in Montana or other markets that are more like they're more vertical, so they don't have the middlemen in the middle, killing the market for the producers.
This is a relatively new industry in the Treasure State, and its budding possibilities were on display here at the Montana Cannabis Show. The expo also featured food, art, clothing, glass blowing, and even had on-site tattooing. Wyatt estimates that over the 2-day show, over 5,000 people attended.
The show was, I think summary or good example of the market. Like it's very new still. I think we met all the bigger camps in the market. Obviously, like we've been saying, everything is vertically integrated. Every dispensary pretty much has their own grow at the minimum, if not their own processing facility. The importance of distillate in their market. I think that's going to be where it, plays a bigger role in terms of like, being able to remediate their bad biomass and still get a clean distillate out. I think that's going to be huge.
Zero proof distilled spirits here, so we've got bourbon, gin, tequila, and amaretto. This one's Pathfinder, some herbal. Got some distilled kava.
Okay, yeah.
And we're mixing up some zero proof cocktails. Got some non-alcoholic beers, some ciders, some adaptive botanicals.
Okay. All right. Hell yeah. Medicated too, huh?
Yeah, something medicated. We got something for everybody.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
THCA is still pretty like concentrated as a product, like too potent and also too over people's heads. When you look at it, I mean, most people get the wrong impression. So I think that's also like the consumer market isn't ready for it. So you almost have to like package it into snowballs or a rolled joint or like rolled pre-rolls or melted into distillate for them to be comfortable with it. I don't think anyone is going to be interested in buying a gram of isolate at the shop. Like, I don't even see that happening here in LA, but like even more so out there. I think if you don't convert it into a edible product or vapable or something like that, like people are not going to even know that it's isolate. They're just going to be like, oh, this is like 80% THC, and that's all they care about. That's like the consumer's way of knowing or way of deciding what product to buy, which is kind of concerning. But I think our job, in that sense, to educate the consumers more, since we know the ins and outs. Like who else is going to tell them that they're wrong? It's like people like us that are going to be like, that's not what you want to look at. You want to look at these things that actually you can judge quality based on, like terpenes and, you know, other things like that. So
really try to make a change. Wanna settle down, but that shit is so confusing. I'm just going through this stage where I'm learning how to be brave. Yo, fuck a phase, this is